All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA show. What I want to get into today is actually learning how to be a tourist in your own town. If you know anything about me, for the last 10 years, or maybe even longer, maybe 11 or 12, I've been traveling all over the damn place. And usually when I get to a certain town, I usually stay in a Little Italy area, but I like to visit a lot of different restaurants, mainly Italian restaurants, but I go to steakhouses or whatever, different gyms, coffee houses, smoothie spots. I try to research and see which ones not only are the best but I also ask locals too. Even if say I'm in a Little Italy and wherever, I just don't go off what the internet will tell me to go there. I really don't like touristy type things. I'm trying to find little local kind of places, like off the beaten trail, even if it's in a certain community. And I'll stand outside a restaurant or a smoothie joint for a while and ask not just one or two people. I'll just stand there for 5 or 10 minutes and say, how is this joint? How is it? A lot of times they'll come out and say, oh, it's pretty good. It's great. And I'll be like, hey, is this your regular spot? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, this is good, but we love this place or we like that place. So I'll go there. And I'll leave there and go to the one a lot of times if they really highly recommend it. But the one thing which is kind of weird is I live in Orlando, Florida, which is the tourist capital of the world, and I call my daughters and myself professional tourists. Something, I came here, my father moved here when I was younger, in my mid-teens, and I ended up staying here. I've also lived in Chicago throughout my life. I grew up there, but I've also, in my 20s, I made a couple films there, and I also lived in California for like 6 years, I think. Or in and out, I guess you could say. But I was traveling mainly. And when I was in California, Southern Cal, or just the state of California, I was always experimenting up and down the coast. I loved it. Again, all different gyms, all different types. I don't care if it's a pizza joint, burger spot, restaurant of all different sorts, Mexican. I was always experimenting. That's what I'm kind of known for. But when it came to me locally, it kind of like I rejected kind of trying new things. I don't know why. And I think because it's so touristy that I almost resented it to a certain degree. Now, of course, I even have season tickets to Universal Studios. I had them at even Disney still, just Epcot actually. But I used to have season tickets to SeaWorld, Universal, Disney, Wet n Wild, whatever, Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon, all these places. And that's what I did. I love doing those type of things. Disney Springs we go to a lot, and different, I live in a tourist town, and I had 2 daughters, so we were doing a lot of things. But when it came to, this pandemic or coronavirus, what I found out about myself is really how much I didn't know about my own damn city. And Orlando has definitely grown, and I get there's a million chains here. That's what we're kind of known for, a lot of chain restaurants. Also a lot of fast foods. Not a lot of people may not even know that, but I think we're the fast food capital of the world again, because you have so many tourists in here. So multiple hotels. If you've never been here, it's crazy. It's just it's a world of tourism. But again, just through the pandemic, I was hitting all my different gyms that I like. Let's just say LA Fitness. So I've always known about them, but I said even recently, the last couple months, let me try different coffee houses. I said because I'm always, when I'm traveling, trying different coffee houses. Why am I not doing it here? I just would go to Starbucks usually when I'm in Orlando. That was it. And so I started looking him up. And even my friend Robert Beninati, he told me about a place that was down the street from my house, a French cafe that's delicious. I don't know how I never knew about this place, because I know a lot. Don't get me wrong. I still go to a lot of different restaurants, but I'm talking a little hole-in-the-walls type places. And then I found another coffee shop that I've always wanted to go to. Actually, I just kept forgetting. Again, it's a mile from my house, but they close early. I was able to go there, love that joint. Then my buddy used to talk about this other place. Again, a mile and a half from my house, this kind of hippie joint. I love it. I just posted a picture yesterday, actually, being there. What the hell's that? I don't even know the names of these places still. Went there, love that. They're open till 10 o'clock. A new Colombian coffee house on Kirkman. And my point being is, and that's only a couple miles right next to the LA Fitness that I go to. My point being is, there's so much maybe that you haven't discovered in your own town or city. Now, if you live in a real rural area, not where there's not a lot, I understand there's just not a lot. But a lot of us do live in major cities or right outside of them. And there's a lot more to do than you think. You just got to put a little more effort into it. I think what happens with a lot of us, we get caught in a rut doing the same shit over and over again. And I get it. There's a consistency there. It's like if I'm in Orlando, some of my closest friends literally own the top Italian restaurants in town. I've known them for many, many years. I know what I'm going to get. It's more than just going there to eat. I get it. It's like seeing family. But that still doesn't mean I can't try other restaurants. And I think, too, when I was in Orlando, you kind of feel like you're betraying a lot of people. So you got to keep doing the same things with the same people that want to, and go visit them. Or if you're kind of, say you're sharing things on Facebook or on Instagram or somewhere else, too, or even if I'm doing a video somewhere else, but they didn't, like in my mind, if I was doing it, say in Boston, I visit the New Italy or the New Italy and say, I'll just use in Vegas or whatever, they want to see that. But when I'm in town locally, maybe I'm thinking, they don't want to see me market another Italian restaurant or a pizzeria or whatever. I had to get over that shit. Even my buddy lived across the street downtown Orlando from Metro Pizza or whatever. And it's a Brooklyn-style pizza. I like it. But for a long time, I wouldn't even go there necessarily. We'd always go to, another place or another pizzeria we know of. And then another place actually opened not far downtown. My daughter loves that place too. And Stasio, so we started to go there. It's a Brooklyn deli. And my point being is, man, like you can do the same stuff, especially if you're dating. I talk about it in my book, Wingman, and my Mastering Self-Confidence program. If you're somebody who's, if you just starting to date someone, I always say get outside your town. Go like 30, 50, 60 miles out at the beginning. Just go out and experience new things with whoever you met. And do things the two of you have never done before. It could be going to whatever. It could be a restaurant. I don't care if it's a bowling alley. I don't care if it's a nightclub. Because a lot of times we go to the same places we were with exes, and it kind of reminds you of them. You can even run into them or friends, whatever. Start your own journey. But have fun. I'm telling you, you got a lot of opportunities sometimes within your own town. And, also, when you go try new things, you're meeting new people. Now, maybe you're somebody who doesn't want to meet new people. But I'm telling you, when you go to different places again, even locally, you're going to sometimes you're going to build relationships, I should say. And you don't always know what you're missing. Like sometimes, I see this with a lot of people. They're always kind of complaining locally that they're sick of the same food or it's not the same quality. I'll just use food as an example. Or even shopping. I'm sick of that mall. You're sick of doing the same things, but you're not open enough to go experience something new. Now, I get sometimes we only want to drive 10, 15 miles, maybe max outside your city, or maybe take a train or a bus or whatever, a subway. But you gotta, if you want to experience new shit, you gotta go to it. It's not going to come to you. And do your research too, but go independent. I think a lot of us depend, which I was kind of saying when I was traveling, I depended on other people's opinions a little bit. But a lot of us get caught with our friends, family members, even at work or colleagues, wherever we work locally. Again, lunchtime, we're going to go here. It's close. We're going to do this for dinner. This is happy hour. We're going to go to the same cigar place. Again, we just found a new cigar place off of downtown Orlando. The guy's super cool. He wants to do a podcast with me and a video. Now, again, my friends went there. I wouldn't have gone there, but they found it. But they found it, I think, online, or someone moved there. But you can do your own research online, but definitely go out and just look at life as a tourist. And again, I'm all about experimenting. A lot of people don't realize all the shit may be near them. And how many, if you like seafood, hypothetically, you have your go-tos. There's probably X amount. You think there's only 10 near you or whatever. There's probably 20 or 30. You may have to go a little more out of your way, and you may find something that's a lot better. But a lot of us just really get caught up with, just being insane, where it's just the same shit over and over again and complaining about it over and over again. If you don't like it, you know what I mean? You got to move on. But how are you going to move on if you don't experiment? So anyways, I just wanted to do a video on that because I see it all the time. And I caught myself being the same way. It was just so interesting that when I traveled, how open kind of I was to experimenting and trying all these things. But when it came to my own city and town, I was so close-minded. And, I think a lot of people are like that, especially if you're middle-aged and you're kind of set in your ways. But, man, that's all I hear is people complain that they're sick of doing the same shit, especially through Corona and pandemic. If it's closed down, it's closed down. But in Florida, it's not. There's so many different things to do, and I've traveled throughout Florida up and down and over and out. As much as I thought I knew about it, there's so much I don't know. Same with California. I thought like, wow, man, I blanketed this place. Same with, I can't say New York. New York just dwarfs me. But Chicago's a perfect example. I go in and out of there all the time. My buddy says, hey, one of my friends got a new Italian restaurant. We got to check it out. He works out of his gym. I went there. I'm like, this is awesome. We never even knew about it. Like, I wonder, as many great restaurants that I've been to and know about it, how many more out there that I don't, right? Sometimes you just got to think that way. So I'm going to wrap it up there. You get a chance, check out my YouTube, richcelenza.com. You want to know anything about my programs or my website or anything, what I do, it's richcelenza.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have any questions or comments, and I know sometimes these podcasts are pretty wacky, the titles, but I just want to, again, try to helping guys live a really extraordinary life, affordable. And I will say this, a lot of things that are great to do don't have to be extreme. All right, I'm just telling you right now. A lot of us think like we have to go eat at really high-end restaurants. It's going to be great. I've done it. Most of my favorite restaurants are definitely more home style, more local, more people that that have a personal touch to it, I guess you could say. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like some chains. But again, when it comes to spending money, something small, but there's a lot of great things to do out there that are really inexpensive. And even you got to get creative. I just did a video on this. So say you want to, I live in Florida, and I know a lot of guys are like, man, I got to get I remember this when I was younger, I should say. I got to get a Sea-Doo. And I'm like, dude, just go rent a Sea-Doo. I ain't going to go spend $40 an hour or $35. I'm like, you're going to go buy one and pay $250 for what, 60 months? Or this is when we're younger, or whatever you want. Why don't you just go rent one? Then after they rented it a few times, me and my buddies, then it's kind of like, all right, we're cool. We don't have to do this all the time. I didn't have to buy one. It could be even renting, a mini bike or what do they got? Slingshots now. A lot of guys like that, a certain type of car. Like, go rent them, enjoy it. That doesn't mean you have to wait to buy it to enjoy it. And that goes for a boat too. You can rent a boat in Florida. Okay, you can even rent a surfboard. When I was younger and I used to come to Florida, I used to rent surfboards. And everyone's like dudes that were real surfers are looking at me like I'm a weirdo. Like, I didn't live here, but what am I going to go buy a surf? I could have. I just wasn't interested. I go to Ron John's Surf Shop in Cocoa, rent a cool board, go try it, different sizes. And my point being is, a lot of times you can't afford to do a lot of things you want to do, but you can still enjoy them. That doesn't mean you're going to, and eventually, a surfboard, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But that could go in your city, whatever you're doing in town. You may not be able to go to Disney all the time or buy season tickets, but you may be able to do something unique where, like, say, Epcot, for instance, or maybe even Magic Kingdom, after 4 o'clock, you pay a lot less. You only get half the day, but who gives a shit? How much time are you really going to spend there? And you still get to enjoy a lot of things, including like different shows and stuff like that. And that can be your town too. Get creative, become a tourist in your own town.